Yeah, this is my speedrun, the very first speedrun I did live. A little background before this. I don't think I'd ever streamed with a webcam. If I did, it was very brief, like only a handful of times probably. It's not like now where I use it every day. So it was really like my first time being in front of anybody. And also, I mean, doing it at an event. It's much smaller. We'll go to the first scene where it actually transitions. Have people in the background. Yeah. So it's not like a huge crowd, but it is a crowd nonetheless, which is super nerve-wracking. Also, I get my timelines wrong on this all the time. I think this was on like a Tuesday. This was like Tuesday morning. And I was supposed to get there Sunday, but there was a really bad like ice storm that was coming in. But before that even came into play, the flight there got canceled because the assistant pilot or the co-pilot never showed up. No one could ever find him. Yo, Emerald, thanks for 24 months. Yeah, I need to just turn off the sound, but we'll still have the alerts, which are somewhat hidden, apparently. Put this on top. There we go. So I got canceled, and then the ice storm came in, so instead of waiting for stuff to get delayed, I just took a bus ride there for 18 hours. Terrible idea. We'll never do it again. So I had like no sleep. This is like me after 36 hours of being awake and stressing to get there and then stressing about doing it in front of people, which for me is super scary. And then this shirt. I don't think I ever pointed this out on stream. I wanted to, but it's just something that I skipped over. Back then, I was a much smaller channel. I didn't have a sub button. I wasn't partnered on Twitch. So I just made a shirt of anyone who donated to help get me there. I put their name on a shirt. So that's all the people that helped me out there. You can, thanks to all supporters. I think the colored names were if it was like, I think anything white was like $5 and anything above 5 was colored. Same hat. It is. This is the exact same hat. I've had this for, I mentioned this on stream earlier on the previous stream. I've had this hat since 2013. But yeah, clean shaven. I don't know why I did that back then and still really now. It's my mustache and goatee is really the only thing that grew in for a very long time. It's taken, I mean, even this is super patchy, but this just would not grow in ever. So it looked really scuffed. So I was like, I'm just going to shave everything and I'll look presentable. And now I hate looking at myself. That's why I never, ever shave this off. Because I know this is going to stare me back in the face. Yeah, look at this layout. It's so...
$100 donation from Falcon Eye. The power of the Rummel for the Germensch community.
Oh, their audio is just super low. Jesus. Look, angry with no facial art. No, this is the. Oh, actually, that is a different hat. That is not this hat. I had this hat at that point, but that. That's not this hat. It's not this hat, everybody. So I was trying to figure this out before. For those that remember Decided Sloth, the Dishonored speedrunner, this is him on couch. This is Laserlong, another speedrunner. He did some BioShock, but not much. He did like Charles Barkley, Ninja Gaiden, or Shut Up and Jam, or whatever the game's called. The really weird 2D RPG game. He ran that. This layout looks super scuffed. All right, when does this actually start? Huh? Starting up. I think this is me just checking stuff. Man, look at this. This layout's so bad. I mean, it's essentially what I'm using now to watch this, but... Okay, this is me just checking stuff. I don't know why they ever decided to show all of this on stream when it was happening, but... Also, this error. What is this error up here for? Okay. Yeah, I don't... Also, I don't know who this is on the couch. I was trying to figure that out when I took a screenshot earlier. I'm not sure who that is. He was just there. I think this was at like 4 a.m. I want to say. So I don't know how the audio is. They have no headset. It's the lav mic. There's an underscore between them and... Oh, they're asking my name. When does this start? Okay. Let's see. I don't want to watch me sit there. Took GDQ way too long to get it. Yeah. Because the difficulty in this game does not matter for the speedrun. And it allows me to do a trick. And I might try to bump up this audio. Because their audio is super low. Yeah, like I wasn't partnered at this time, so I didn't have just the name BloodThunder on Twitch. I had to use zeros in the blood and then an underscore between them. It wasn't until I got partnered where I was able to switch that. Yeah, this is my first run at a GDQ. Quantum Conundrum was that same week, but it was later on. Let's see, can I don't know if I can boost the audio. I know there's a Chrome extension you can get that like artificially boost it, but I don't have that installed. I can't do on he's a scrub. That too.
Scrub Thunder.
Yeah, for the most part, we would skip this in speedruns. The plot for the game.
They told me.
The plot's pretty deep.
Son,
yep.
You're special.
I guess I just decided to let this play out because people like it a lot. Oh my, I hate looking at myself. It's awful. Audio's really low. Yeah, it's on them. It's maxed out for me. I have a little bit in Discord I can boost. Let's see. Doesn't want to let me do it though. Oh, it's locked for some reason. Okay, won't help much, but it might be a bit.
It is a let's play. We're gonna play this game intentionally, by the way. Just a reminder.
Yep. No glitches or anything.
Yeah, this is a glitchless run. This is all intentional. We're just gonna beat it under an hour, though. Just a reminder.
Yeah, it should be a little bit better, but as you can tell, my commentary wasn't as refined as it is now.
On one glitch, but we'll talk about that more when we get there.
I thought we weren't doing glitches.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Oh, the jokes.
Whoa, my bad.
Yeah, this was glitchless memes before anything else.
Dishonored any percent. The timer's going to start in just a moment. I won't need to know for about 20
He's
minutes
doing
or so.
SDA time.
The timer starts now.
So it starts from first movement.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a bid warp for good and bad
A
ending.
little shortcut right here. It's not a glitch. We're just going to swim through the fire.
There's a lot of doing that in the game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the beginning of the game is kind of slow, but once we get into the actual part of Rapture, which is the city the game is based in, it really starts to pick up. So I'll try to do some cool little tricks here and there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I can hear it in my voice. It's like I'm super tired at this moment.
And down to the bathysphere, which is, for those that don't know the game, the way you get around the city. You'll see me do this quite a bit, make my way in the dark as the game's trying to set the mood.
Well, I went to the right. Interesting. I think for a long time I went to the right instead of just going on the other side. Missed the lever, and then I have to ride it. Wow.
So there's a neat little trick
Reset.
I was trying to do there where you get outside of the bathysphere, which is what I'm riding in, and you can kind of just look around.
That's embarrassing.
Like you're not supposed to.
It's a tricky little jump, but you can get it consistently if you practice. If you practice.
This is also the error of there really not being a lot of PC speedrunners. I think at the time, like Laser Long on Couch might have done a handful of runs of this game at some point, but really no one else was doing single segment runs of this game. There were segmented runs on SD beforehand, but I can't remember anyone else at that time doing attempts. I think my record was like a 5410 then. I know this doesn't have flings in it. I don't think has death warping with incinerate. I think as soon as I went home, like the following week, I was like, oh, we can just use incinerate to kill ourselves. And start writing that in.
Here's the main city, Rapture. It's underwater, obviously. Not much more to it.
Super basic commentary.
What's the name of the whale? what's you call the whale by name?
I don't think we actually named the whale.
You never did?
We named the bees in BioShock 2 and the shark.
Can we name the whale in honor of?
Name the bees and I don't remember that. I know the shark was named Roger Jones Jr. in BioShock 2.
There we go.
It's been said. It's too late. Too late to change it.
See?
I don't know what the bees were ever called.
Here goes Echo.
Echo the Whale. Classic. I legit look like I'm about to fall asleep. I feel like I am always looking like I'm about to fall asleep.
Oh God.
Was video so quiet? It's just they were really bad about recording this stuff in the past.
Alright, so now we've actually made it in the Rapture, but we're not quite out of the slow part of the game quite yet.
It's the very boring part.
But something I've been hyping up in my own stream for a while is that I've found a new little time saver, and I'll be showing that off in this area as well.
Strats.
I know I do talk about it, but I was sitting on this trick and wanting to show it off for like months beforehand, and I just...
What a cheater.
It was strat hiding, but it was strat hiding that I didn't even use myself. I just sat on it for a long time.
Guy just died. His name's Johnny. He's not too bright. He has a gun, but he doesn't use it.
I guess I don't have subtitles turned on at this point. Wow. Strat hiding, I know. Like, it's crazy to think about now, but like back then it was just like, well, I have this chance to show off this game, and let me just show off a new trick. Like, that's an exciting thing. People like...
Now, to be honest, this part is supposed to scare you when you first play.
Oh, the notifications.
Trying to build this horror atmosphere, but initially, when you start getting plasmids, the game's not scary anymore.
Yeah.
Too spooky.
Exactly.
GDQ wasn't up to date on turning off the overlay for like friend requests and stuff. I don't know how long that goes on in this.
It's a very boring part of the game as well, because a lot of it is walking. There's not really much to do.
And now we meet the main guiding character, Atlas.
Oh, no, I do have
He
subtitles.
befriend us to lead us through Rapture to get to Andrew Ryan, who is the guy that actually built the city. I won't go too much in the plot because there's a pretty big spoiler later on for those that haven't played it. For now, we're just going to make our way through this area.
So young, what happened? I don't know. I have no idea what's up. Thank you for the 31 months.
Right where this pillar is, there's a small invisible wall that you can jump on top of. It doesn't save any time, but
Just
why
something
not
to
go
show.
for it? This is the first item we'll get in the game. It's the, well, I guess it's the first weapon. We already got one of the items. And fun fact about this couch, it'll always be on fire, no matter how long you wait.
I guess that's a fun fact to point out.
We got our first plasmid, which is something to...
Yeah, this didn't have the electric bolt skip at all. I was wondering about that. There's a lot I remember about the route at this point, but I couldn't remember if that was
How many times have you seen this cutscene?
introduced.
Too many.
That's a good answer.
It is a Let's Play.
Yeah, it's a yeah.
Don't fall down? Oh, whoops.
Seems like it would take like actual conscious effort to throw yourself over there.
You would think he would be like, "Whoa, let's not do that."
Another little fun fact about the
Fun fact.
subtitles for this part, they named the first splicer Splicer 1, the next one Splicer 2, but then they changed it to Splicer Male and Splicer 2 for whatever reason.
Huh.
Yeah.
Someone's a little insecure.
It's a good fact, but I don't know if it's fun.
So he's still Splicer 1, but in just a second he'll go to...
Earliest run on Speedrun.com is from October 2013. I mean, my BioShock runs predate it. Speedrun.com. It's all SDA stuff.
And now the main reason most people remember BioShock.
The Big Daddy.
Big Daddy and the Little Sister.
Blood
I
was
think we also have the theater cutscene.
but
Oh man.
unfortunately he scrubbed out.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to be my Big Daddy, and you scrubbed out too. So.
Dude, I did. I couldn't get the suit on. That was too short.
Wait a minute. He's still breathing. It's alright. I know he'll
No.
Yeah, this is a really archaic route. Wow.
Donate, they turn the volume off.
Alright, so now we have Electrobolt, which is what we just picked up.
Don't have to do the jumping.
For those that haven't played the game. This one lets you shoot Electrobolt. Pretty self-explanatory. Lightning out of hands. Fun stuff.
Nice.
No idea what they said on commentary. There was someone not mic'd up just saying something off screen.
Bidding war for this game.
Okay, so there was a bidding war. I don't remember doing one for this.
Not for 20 minutes, but if you want to let people know, you can.
So what are you gonna draw for us?
I'm going to try to draw something. I don't know what it'll turn into, but we'll see.
Looks like a deer. A jet? Is that a jet?
It's beautiful, whatever it
It
is.
looks like a bird.
Butterfly?
It's a jackal.
Jack?
A jackal.
It is Echo the Whale. It's an abstract.
The return of Echo.
So we're going to pass up a pistol here, which is normally the first actual gun you encounter. You can get most of the guns many times over in the run, and it's just
Why did we ever pass that up? I don't know the reasoning behind that. I'm gonna be
we
honest.
have one more area of sitting around doing nothing, but this one has a clue.
I don't remember the logic of skipping the pistol in the route this early on. I don't think there was any. We definitely pick it up now. What's going on, Sully? Yeah,
A
wow.
lot of these cutscenes are pretty much just introducing core enemies as well as just the atmosphere of BioShock to you. But after this section, once we get to Medical Pavilion, Blood will do his work and show you how non-broken this game is.
Yeah. So far, it's not been broken at all, but
No. This is
there's a
very-
reason the game's under an hour.
very intentional. Because if it was broken, it wouldn't be there.
It is crazy how short this game is with all these cutscenes and Welcome to Rapture and stuff not being skipped. It's the run that got you into speedrunning BioShock? Nice. I do really enjoy this cutscene every time.
So the next little area, I have to just kill all the splicers, but I'm just going to go ahead and explain what the trick I've been hiding for so long is. So at the end of this level, there's a certain part you have to wait through, and there used to be a really good way of skipping it, walking around the corner.
World premiere strats, yeah.
But back in September, I went on Twitch and searched BioShock stuff, and surprise, surprise, there's actually a developer playing
BioShock
with
stuff.
commentary, and he points out a part where a speedrunner could actually use a trick, but no one in the speedrunning community knew about it at all. And it's been out there for about 3 years now, so.
Yeah, I don't know if that VOD still exists, to be honest. It might not be there. I should go back and find it. It was a really interesting
So all we have to do is take a
video, from what I remember.
It's actually now pretty handy. Walk in here and zap the door.
Wow.
Yeah, no one knows how different that route is except for Laz on couch, because what you used to do is like there's a trigger right here in the room, but there's like a couple pixels along the wall that you have to get around this little bump without hitting the trigger and then walk to the exit, and it was super annoying to do. It really wasn't hard, but it was so easy to hit that trigger, so just doing this new strat
In here and
of zapping the door
Wow.
is so nice. Like in the current route, having to jump everywhere, you couldn't get around that trigger. You'd hit it every time.
That blows the old strat out of the water completely. Thank you for showing me
I
that.
told you you'd like it.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, if you mess that up, you lose about a minute.
Yeah, you reset there a lot if you don't get that trigger skip right.
Is it intentional that the plasma opens the door?
Yes.
No, that's actually a bug. It doesn't work on any other door in the game, unfortunately. That's the only time we'll have to hack anything, but it's pretty mandatory for now. The hack is the same if you boot it up from this desktop, but if you do multiple runs, it switches. I don't know why it does that, but it's pretty helpful if you can know the pattern.
So this is really where the run picks up. Because once we get telekinesis, we really abuse the game. I mean, play the game intentionally really well.
I didn't remember last talking this much in the commentary.
Pick up 2 more plasmids, and we're going to get rid of Electrobolt. We no longer need it.
It's kind of like 50-50 at
First
the
one we're
moment.
going to get is Incinerate, and we need that really only to get telekinesis, which is really broken. It makes combat in this game a complete joke. Okay. So now we have Incinerate.
I think I was also playing on a different sensitivity than what I normally do, because I'm noticing like I'm not turning around properly. I'm like flinging my mouse.
Pass splicers and not actually killing them, that's intentional. I don't need to fight them. But it's very important I don't kill this splicer before he throws the table.
The magic table flight. I love this trick.
Pick that up.
I mean, it's the predecessor to just flinging everywhere, but
So goodbye, Electrobolt. So this well. Alright, so the reason the table needed to be thrown at me is because it actually changed the properties of the table. So it's unlike any other in the game at the moment. I just need to take it with me. Put it right.
it's lost it. This was the annoyance of the magic table flight. It just sometimes just did whatever it wanted. Do I explain the property stuff?
It's a very frustrating table, by the way, as you may notice.
Yeah, because its properties changed, it's now solid when I hold it with telekinesis. I may have lost it. Okay, so it's the table. Which makes it really difficult to walk with it. And it allows me to do this.
So,
Yeah. The main point of going over the wall instead of around it is to not activate that Vita chamber there. So we're going to abuse that in just a moment.
yeah,
I'm actually really impressed with how much I'm pointing out stuff, like going back and looking at the Vita chamber. I felt like I didn't do that in this. I always, like, I haven't watched this since basically it happened. But I always felt like my commentary didn't go over stuff like that in the past, so I'm glad it did. Yeah, the layout's definitely, it's definitely something.
can you get Buck?
Oh, do I get this?
I believe in you.
What is happening here?
Okay, so I need to take some damage.
I don't think we had it set up for bucks for like shooting the ammo at them. It was just
So I'm going to go
Go
little
for
bit, but I don't really need to explain it unless I get it, because it won't make sense.
oh wait, did I not hit the thing? I don't know what happened.
It's not an easy trick to do.
I don't know what that strat was, to be honest.
Steinman, who is the quote-unquote boss of the area, he allows you to leave.
It was an
but he
interesting
also
setup.
locks a certain door that we now bypass by dying, which is why we didn't activate the Vita chamber in that area. It would send you back there if you die, typically.
Yeah, you'll notice I'm not using incinerate.
What it does is it sends you to another area of Medical Pavilion, which has a very long cutscene with Little Sisters and who knows what else. We're going to skip all that and just go right to the exit.
So how much damage is that?
So like we knew death warping was prevalent. It was already in the segmented run stuff, but they had used other sources of damage, and they also played on hard, so it was a lot easier to take damage and die. It wasn't until like I went home. I was saying this earlier, like a week after I went home after this run, I just It's like, oh, we can just use incinerate on the floor to damage ourselves. Also, thank you, Blair. Appreciate that. And then that helped out so much.
Probably 3 minutes.
It's my PB for BioShock 1 now? I don't remember. It's like a 43 something, I think. At this point, speedrunning didn't get to the point where we were using in-game time. My 5410, which is, I believe, the record when I was doing this run, that was all real time. So I don't know what that was in game time. But yeah, it took a long time to get to using in-game time stuff. Very long time. So if you had like good loads, you were just
The run progresses, you'll learn that to
like a good PC.
a very,
You're
very potent,
the king.
plasmid, as well as just being incredibly overpowered.
Yeah.
And
The
also,
next area doesn't really have a big skip, but it introduces a smaller glitch. Or I guess we're not doing glitches, my bad.
yeah, no glitches, man. Come on, keep it legit.
Yeah, Easter egg. It's exactly what it is. That'll come in handy over and over again. So I'll explain that in just a moment. First, we need to get there.
I mean, who's to say it's not developer intent?
Exactly.
Yep.
If you can do it, it's in there.
The really terrible crouches under doors that weren't any faster to do. Yeah, we didn't have the little sister trick that we have here. That wasn't found for some time after this.
It gets a lot better.
So this is where the Easter egg comes in handy. We can skip any NPC dialogue we want by playing a radio message over top of it. And we skipped it.
When did this run BioShock Infinite was already out? I don't think I was running BioShock Infinite at this time.
Consoles as well.
Yeah, the speedrun for console and PC is exactly the same besides loading screens. Now we're
What a thing to say for a PC run. That it's the exact same on PC and console, which nowadays is not true. But that's a crazy thing to hear. I know BioShock Infinite was out, but it took me a long time to get around to it because I was playing this, and then I think when Infinite came out, I had switched over to doing BioShock 2 stuff, and I just didn't feel like taking on multiple runs at a time, so I was just working on 2 for the longest time.
Typically, you'll pick up the grenade launcher right here, but we're just going to skip it for now because we'll preserve it for later. And I can actually skip this dialogue, but I don't want to until the goal message appears. Right now.
Look at that great menuing.
If you skip it when the door is closed, but the goal message hasn't popped up, it'll stay closed forever.
Solid soft lock.
Yeah.
The best kind of soft lock.
Well, you soft lock unless you know what you're doing, and then you can diary skip it somehow. It's kind of too complicated to explain.
All right, to explain it, because it's not complicated at all. You just play the message again, and then wait for the goal to pop up, and then you skip it. You just reactivate the dialogue, and then you skip it. That's all you have to do.
And now we're just doing the intended goal, which is getting a camera and taking some pictures. Why not? Take a quick selfie. There's no reason to actually pick up those machine gun rounds because I won't need them. But I do it anyways. So there's one picture. We need 2 more. Just run past all these guys.
Taking the pictures. Just my general movement through the areas is so off.
Route here, it blew my mind because learning this game, you don't expect to take the photos right here and then be done with it. Normally you're supposed to go inside, find the splicer through these really scary atmospheres. Yet again, BioShock wants you to be scared, but you do a really good job in the speed run.
Yeah, typically when you take those pictures, you're not supposed to know they're right in the doorway.
Is it because of the mouse sensitivity? It is, but it's also, I think, just nerves and being worse at the game than I am now. Something I just noticed, and I remember this off the top of my head. Back when I went, this is my first GDQ experience. I didn't have the foresight to like take my mouse and keyboard like I do now, which is really nice. So I had to use, this is someone's mechanical keyboard. I don't remember what kind it was, but it was like my first experience with a mechanical keyboard. And like that style, I just used some like shitty keyboard at home. So I was using, I felt like I might have taken my mouse at the time, possibly, but like the software didn't install, so that's why the DPI is all messed up and sensitivity's out of whack. But it's, yeah, very small things can make a big impact, like not having your mouse and keyboard when you're used to playing with your own mouse and keyboard. The guy on the couch, the one talking a lot, this guy in the middle here is Laser Long. It's a speedrun. I don't know if what he's up to these days. I don't know if he still streams or does speedruns, but he did some BioShock speedruns in the past. He did Charles Barkley, Ninja Gaiden, Shut Up and Jam, or what. I really don't remember what it's called, but he did that. He's a pretty cool dude. And we got mistaken. As you can tell, we're both wearing beanies. We got mistaken at this event for each other so many times. So many people went up to him after this run and told him nice BioShock run, and then I got the same for his Charles Barkley run later on.
For a small death warp here, but they didn't do enough damage.
Like it happened so many times.
Alright, so here's the grenade launcher we were talking about before.
This is a really cool trick.
So we're gonna diary skip past this door. And this is usually where you give up your weapons in the game to do another type of boss fight.
Thought we were brothers or something. I mean, I could see it, especially with the no facial hair, and he's clean shaven as well. It's like it's so. You're not far off. I'll put it that way.
Give up your weapons and then pick up something else, like the grenade launcher. You can just keep it. Why not?
Do we actually use the grenade launcher here?
Yet again, all intentional. Just keep in mind, everybody.
So we're gonna melt this ice so I can get.
The really nice thing, I don't think this was the case back then. Maybe I'll talk about it, but doing that with the grenade launcher now isn't. It's not necessary, but you end up getting a lot more grenades out of it, which really helps out for later on in the run, killing the big daddies and stuff. I don't know if that was our reasoning back then. I feel like we actually don't pick up our weapons. We leave them in the vent. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think that was the thought process of we're going to do this trick now so we don't have to waste 3 seconds to pick the weapons back up from the vent, which is just a terrible idea. Like skipping the pistol and Welcome to Rapture, it's just like, I don't know why we thought that was a big thing to do.
Anytime you see me go to the menu, I'm skipping a message. And now we just need to wait for the boss to actually spawn. And if you didn't realize how broken telekinesis was...
Yeah, we use this.
And he's dead.
I cannot get spawns like that anymore. I don't know what happened. My spawns for Peach there are terrible. Yeah, we don't pick up the weapons.
I'm also not picking up my weapons, which is why I kept the grenade launcher. It costs 3 seconds or so to pick them up. You gotta save those frames.
Exactly. Save the frames. Don't know yet. Donate now to save the little sisters, or doom them all. Your choice.
Well, you don't really doom them, you just make them evil.
Yeah.
This is one of the games where saving is faster.
Exactly.
So I mentioned before about picking up weapons throughout the game. We're just gonna get the pistol here. Normally you would get this back when you get your weapons, but I can just get it here.
Missed.
That's a good shot. Oh, never mind. Try to be out.
Do I save or just go for it? I just went for it. Okay. Missed it.
Nice.
So you can just... It's It's not quite done yet. We have to blow up the bathysphere to continue.
Yeah, this is very important to the run.
I don't know if at this point I feel like I had quick save bound because I think I'm going to use it for Last Chance Kid. I don't know why I didn't quick save there. Maybe it's because PCs back then were pretty slow to load stuff. So it just felt much longer doing it all in real time. But like that's a trick. I'm pretty sure on my more recent GDQ runs of this game, I always quick save there. 'Cause messing that up is something I don't want to do.
Reminder.
It was all him.
Yep, wasn't Fontaine.
I mean, not even the input buffering, just doing that all together.
It's simple as that.
I know about quick saving.
Really solid programming.
Another diary.
I mean, I knew about it, I just didn't use it.
There's actually some really interesting mechanics behind leaving an area with radio messages and diary messages, and we'll
That's
actually
true.
get into that later on. We'll abuse it the opposite way, which doesn't really make sense, but you'll see.
Okay, here we go.
This level in 4 for All, like I've been looking forward to.
It saves
I love the old routes for these. I mean hate.
Hiding all the strats.
That's why you should watch my tutorial video.
Ow. Ooh.
The next weapon we're going to pick up is the machine gun. It's very conveniently placed. So I'm going to need it in just a moment.
Those hot
So
pictures.
now we're taking some photos again. And that gives us sports boost, which is an increase in movement speed. For the longest time, I didn't think it did anything, but I actually went back and tested it last week, and it does help. So it's back in the route.
Nice.
I just went on the thought process of I didn't think it did anything, so I didn't use it. Like that was my explanation for so long. I was like, yeah, I just don't feel like it does anything for the run. I'm not gonna test it. And then like it's like, well, the run's coming up. Maybe I should test it to see how it does. And yeah, it's obviously a time saver.
It's 10%.
Yeah, 10%'s a pretty noticeable increase.
So I'm going to start setting up the biggest skip in the game. It's sort of difficult, but
Yeah, this was because we didn't have flings at the time, or really know about flings with telekinesis and high FPS. So we have to do this
with me and take out these
this archaic
security measures.
strat. So did that blow up the pallet? No, that's actually
Next,
good.
because
Crazy.
they destroy the pallet, and I don't want them to.
Someone found the tree skip. This was found, oddly enough, by a guy named Exploding Cabbage. Back in the day, he did a whole bunch of stuff for the segmented run of this game, like some really crazy stuff. And he was the one that found this. He really found pretty much all of the stuff back then. There's another runner named Cortez who was working on things, but I don't know if he ever found stuff for the run. He just kind of put it together for segmented work.
All tricks besides Prometheus. This trick is very difficult to do. Blood makes it very easy though.
So when you put the pallet next to the tree and grab a manure bag, the whole goal of this is to get around a trigger that would otherwise close the door to the exit. I'm actually going to do a quick save, because if I mess it up,
Hey, a quick
15
save.
minutes out of the way. So the tricky part is actually
So if you try to do this nowadays, we do flings with high FPS now, but this is an FPS dependent trick. The higher FPS you have, the worse it is to do this. Doing this at 60 is still kind of awful. But like on console, I would imagine this is actually an easier strat because the palette reacts to the frame rate. So the higher it is,
from the pallet.
the harder this becomes.
The tree does not like you trying to get up in it.
The tree is the real jerk here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad, like, this kind of setup for stuff isn't really in speedruns, it seems like, these days. Like, stacking stuff up. I mean, you don't really have telekinesis, but, like, taking the time to move 3 things into a corner, then jump on top of something to get out of bounds. It's either, if I can jump out of bounds, I'll go for it, or if I can find a way to clip or prop fly or whatever. People don't really try to stack up 20 items. I mean, every now and then you see it, it's just never usually in the run, or it's never worth it, which is interesting. I really like these kind of tricks. I think it takes a lot of ingenuity to find something and to use it
Just a reminder, he
this
cannot
way.
look to the right at all.
Yeah,
And then to find a setup to do it consistently.
trigger. Walking or looking at it, we'll do that.
And if he activates the trigger, he has to do the intentional
Okay,
way.
screen's gonna go black, but it's gonna come back. That's because of the trick I used to get the door open. For some
So at the very beginning of Arcadia, you hit a trigger that starts dialogue, and then you activate to go back to Smuggler's Hideout. But that'll never activate once you go far enough into Arcadia. It just like gets shut off, I believe. So whenever the dialogue's finished playing, usually you're in Fort Frolic and it doesn't matter. But if you take long enough, like I did here, you get that black screen and all the audio for the level just goes out, which is really odd because it wants to transition you back to
and there's no
Smuggler's Hideout, but you can't go.
so it gets the next
Stay
part.
audioless for the entire run.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, this trick is... Back then, like a good run was if you did this trick in Fort Frolic
Load.
quickly.
For a reason.
If you got those two down, like you were having a good run.
Yet again, this trick is very difficult to do, and usually if you get to this point, it's frustrating.
Yeah, this is usually the run killer.
Yes.
But only because it can take you so long. But
And the funny thing is, it gets harder as we go along.
I'm just gonna do a quick save up here. Once I'm here, I should be able to get it pretty quickly, unless I shoot.
I don't know if that was true. He's gonna get it now.
Alright, so now I'm up in the tree.
You don't need this manure bag for this, but it helps.
Fine. And we need a little bit more height, so we use the manure bag once again. Shoot a little bit, and jump over the trigger.
Good job, me. I knew I could do it.
Yet again, he skipped an intentional quest to for scavenging hunting in the farmer's market, where it usually takes you about how much time would you say?
15 minutes or so.
Oh Lord.
With an optimized route, it's 15 minutes. But for those not knowing what that skipped, if you've played the game, where you get the bees, we skip all of that.
The bees are the best though, but unfortunately we have to skip them.
Nervous at all? No, it's because I'm so incredibly tired here.
Unfortunately, this is a really cool level, and we just don't get to see it.
Sander Cohen,
Yeah.
the best.
This was the bane of like every runner's existence before flings were found. Everyone hates this trick.
Stack it.
Because two items stacked together is just miserable because they don't want to actually interact properly. They don't want to act like solid items. So they like to bounce around and fly out of the way.
Intuitive. Sinking the bathysphere. Which is what you use to leave the level. But,
Is this gonna work? That's a
do this right.
weird setup, but hey.
And
Super clean.
because marathon luck. So now I need to wait until I get a certain goal message. I can kind of skip ahead to get it. And that gives me my walking speed back, because it's actually reduced when you enter Fort Frolic, and that allows me to get up on this railing. So I'm going to do this trick, and then I'm going to explain what I did.
That was really nice.
Nice job.
The claps. That was actually really clean.
Atmosphere, it visually goes away, but the hard coding for it's actually still there, so you can just find the lever that you would normally pull, and if you do that, you can still use it. So it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy.
So this is the part where I need to know good or bad ending.
Good ending is in the lead.
Good ending? Okay.
Going for the good ending, everybody. Good ending doesn't change the route at all from the optimal.
Good ending has $653, and bad ending has $471.
So for the good ending, we're just going to do the any percent route, and that means we don't touch any of the little sisters, we don't harvest or save them, we just leave them alone. If we were doing the bad ending, we'd harvest 2 of them, but that's about it. Alright. So I need to play that message off the body, and then skip it. That gets the door.
Woo, the good ending, yeah. Gotta love it.
Over here. We will still need to kill 2 big daddies, but that's just for the goal objective. You have to obtain a quest item from inside their bodies.
A quick question: when you loot a body, do the items stay consistent, or is it always a different kind of item when you loot a body?
For bodies, it's pretty much random. With a lot of the items like trash cans and crates, you can usually get the same stuff, but bodies are different. Yeah, the radio messages are.
So I don't know if it's ever been proven or looked into, but I believe the loot you get's always seated in the amount of stuff that you have. The amount of ammo you have, I think, plays a huge part in the luck or the drops that you get off of bodies. But I don't know if that's ever been proven or looked into. We don't have the source code to do it, but I think it's heavily influenced on what you currently have.
Leave him alone for just right now. We'll come back to him. What I'm doing is activating the goal, and I'm also upgrading my damage. By taking a picture of them, I can do a little bit more damage against them. And if I pick up this tonic, it actually gives me more damage for each picture I take of them. So now we are fully equipped to kill big daddies.
There'll be a lot of death warp abuse here in a few moments.
Enter the store code.
So there, in routes nowadays, if you watch speedruns of BioShock, we pick up an auto hack tool off of Peach and Neptune's Bounty, so we can just skip that door code entirely. But back then, we didn't know there's an auto hack that was so easily available to us, so we just had to memorize that code as well.
Put nitroglycerin and
Once again, not having incinerate the
ability for
kill ourselves there.
weapons. So it can really mess up with death warps, unfortunately. So if the big daddy's interacting with the little sister, you can't damage him, which is what I'm testing now. Because I don't want to waste grenades if he's not going to die. So, you guys want a good ending? We're just going to leave her there.
Save little sisters.
Something I always fail to mention in these BioShock runs that I do at GDQs is that you can, I think in the most recent one I did, I explained it, but you can weapon swap to skip reloading a lot of the times. Not a full reload if you're fully out, but if you're doing anything with the grenade launcher, the crossbow, and the shotgun, the individual reload animations in between shots, you can swap away and swap back through to skip it.
So I actually abused the invincibility.
Debut.
So I could go and obtain what I needed from the big daddy and then die immediately.
I'm surprised at how well that turned out without incinerate.
Pretty helpful.
I didn't realize.
We're
And
about
that
halfway done getting the quest items at this point.
that down the way I did. Also didn't realize we could jump down the hole over there, which would have been really nice. I feel like that was known at this time, but I guess not.
So if you see me damaging myself, that's for a death warp, which I'm about to do after I make the bomb.
I use incinerate here? What?
Spamming the use key.
Nice.
What? B, thank you for that $5. I guess this is where I got the knowledge of using incinerate for other death warps. But how did it take so long to figure it out if I already knew it existed? I think maybe I only did it here because there's like oil on the floor and I try to ignite the oil and not just shoot the floor itself. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that might have been the thought process back then. It's been a while. Let's see. No, we just straight up shoot the floor. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that so much, Bio. Thank you. So that's where it comes from, I guess. The first time.
Now we're gonna take a short
We death warp there.
place the bomb, which
Also, this jump is also somewhat frame rate dependent. The higher frame rate seems to be significantly harder to do this jump from the books up top. 'Cause it bumps you up based on collision detection.
long and tedious process.
It's still an annoying jump to do. Yeah, that first jump up to there.
This one's not really a one-shot trick, but it helps if I do mess it up. Which I
First try,
didn't. So
nice.
And then oh, I thought I fell off. No, we use incinerate there. Okay.
so once I've placed
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like back then, it's like you didn't really think about the route too much. It's just like whatever made sense for that particular moment, you did, and then eventually someone, in this case, it was me. When I went back home, I was like, "Oh yeah, we can just do this everywhere."
the bomb, I need to go back up because that's where the exit is. So I just kill myself once again.
Why not? You know, we're already here.
And if you guys have not played the game and you don't want any spoilers, I recommend not watching the next few minutes of the run. Because the biggest spoiler I cannot skip.
Actually, gonna watch it.
Alright.
Not watching.
Once again, I don't need to kill him. I just need to run past.
Yeah, imagine telling people at a charity event not to watch the stream. Who does that? Who's like, you know what? You don't need charity. Stop watching if you don't want spoilers. Nobody needs to watch this anyways. Banned, yeah. The
So actually,
no fun zone.
There wasn't a way to skip this part. We can actually skip it, but we can't find a way to get back into the room. So there's hope for one day we'll find a skip.
Someday.
I wish I had the clip of like the day flings were discovered. I don't remember when it was, but like the day someone uploaded the fact that you could use like high FPS to grab any item and fling with it, like I immediately booted up the game, found an item in here and went to go test it. Offloaded, like uploaded offline. It's like it was
So it's a little dark here, but there's
such a great day.
actually a wall I need to jump over by getting on top of this vending machine. And there you go. Usually you just have to wait for the power to come back on. Which is
I've fixed it. Yeah, they definitely didn't. I don't know. I don't remember the specs on these PCs. It took a long time for them to get even decent PCs. It was my run of Doom at AGDQ 2017, I believe, when the community, especially the Doom community, Doom speedrunning community, really pushed for getting like decent graphics cards. I don't remember what the specs for these were. I don't remember them being very good. But you know, back then no one cared about high FPS. It just wasn't a factor
I hope you guys like spoilers.
in speedruns. Simpler times, you know.
Many would you kindly puns. Oh man.
This is a great cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, loading times were significantly more important than high FPS. As I mentioned, everything was real time, so if you had faster loading times, then you just save time.
Symbolism.
What, SSDs? Oh yeah. Not only SSDs, but I mean, they still have the problem having very small SSDs for more modern games, or you know, Doom's 60 gigs, and the more of modern games you have, you're gonna have 60 gigs plus 60 gigs plus 40 gigs, and it adds up. So it's like midway through the week, you can't even install your game on the PC until like Thursday if it runs on Friday. All these other games have to go first. There's no room anymore. I think that might have been a problem back then. Also, widescreen's great. Of like not having enough space on the hard drive, and like people trying to figure out when they could do it. It's always been a problem, honestly. It's really bad.
So Blood, out of all the cutscenes in the game, which is your favorite? I have to ask.
The very last one.
Nice. That's my favorite too.
Games are over 100 gigs. I mean, the only game that's really over 100 gigs is Call of Duty. Most games that get run at GDQs aren't close to 100 gigs. Like Doom, Wolfenstein, those titles are like 50, 60 gigs. Final Fantasy 15 4K edition? Okay.
Alright, so that's part one of the cutscene. Now we're gonna get the fun part.
Destiny's well over 100, true, I guess. I don't play Destiny, so I don't know. I didn't think it was over 100. It's crazy. So they do something like that now, Strabo. It's not necessarily like in regards to the space on their hard drive, but just for installing games throughout the week. Whenever you have a run at AGDQ, it's different now that it's online. But when they go back to in-person events, I'm sure they'll go back to this. But when you go to register, they'll ask you like the runner registration, and you get there and you get your badge and everything. They're like, all right, your run's on Thursday, so we're gonna schedule you to go install your game Wednesday morning at like 8 a.m. And then that's the time you have to wake up and go whatever time they give you to install your game and make sure it runs. Back then it was just find a time, get it installed, and hope that it works. Pretty much. So right after I got to the event, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, I was on like an 18-hour bus ride after being up for like 12 hours trying to figure out flight scheduling stuff. And I got to the event, and all of the Borderlands 2 runners were trying to set up their stuff because they were doing a 4-player co-op Borderlands 2 run, and there were only like 4 PCs there, so they were trying to use all of them. And my run was obviously that night because this is like 8 hours past that time, so I had to install my game. So as they're trying to set up to do this practice run, I'm like, hey Professor Broman, I Misty, and whoever else. I honestly can't remember who else was doing the run. I was like, I need to stop you guys. Also, like, not having interacted with anybody before, or them knowing who I was. Just like, can you guys get off the PCs? It's my turn. I like felt so bad and so nervous trying to do that. Like, install this game when they were struggling so hard to find time to get 4 people to use all the computers at once. And in like 30 minutes into setting up BioShock, for those that watched AGDQ live, I think it was like, this was like during the first couple of runs, the fire alarm was pulled. So everyone had to go outside into the freezing cold. It was like 5 degrees outside, and we all, like, I had just gotten there, kicked the Borderlands guys off the PCs to install my game, and then the fire alarm was pulled and had to go stand out in the cold for 30 minutes or whatever it was. It was just like the worst experience, and then I had to stay up for this, so. Sounds miserable. Oh, it was. That's why my face is just like pure dread at the moment. I'm just like, I want sleep.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep saying that.
I have no idea.
This is also when I could stay up for
Pretty catchy. I like.
however long I want it, pretty much. Honestly, I've thought about this. Most of the GDQ rooms I've shared with people, because I've always shared a room, mostly with 4 people, sometimes with just another person. This is the only event where I can't remember the people I shared a room with, and I only remember being in the room like twice that entire week. Like, I think I only slept like twice the entire event, for like a week. Maybe I slept more, but I genuinely don't remember ever being in that hotel room.
Possibly.
The writers couldn't think of anything else.
Very unoriginal.
It's the Fabled play. No, that was SGQ like 2016 or something. That was much later. 2015, 2016, I think. 248-hour plus days, yeah, something like that.
So if you skip the first half of this, and then manage to find a way back into the room, this cutscene completely goes out of whack. Andrew Ryan ends up behind you, and you're hitting nothing, and someone
beautiful.
dies.
It's absolutely beautiful. You're pretty much beating up an imaginary man.
Fatality.
Doing a cutscene in the speedrun? Yeah, that's crazy.
Nice boss.
Tough boss fight.
Yeah, I think they changed the error to my Twitch handle at some point. During the very beginning. I think they asked for the name.
Big twist.
And now comes this very slow and kind of boring descent of the game.
I've learned from my time of doing commentary here, you don't, and it goes to even like doing submissions for GDQs, you don't ever want to draw attention to the down parts. You want to hype up the good parts and then cover over the boring sections or the slow moments. You don't want to just obviously point out, yeah, this part here, it's kind of boring. There's really not much to talk about here. We're just gonna watch this stuff, you know. Like I've noticed, I did it a lot early on when we were going through Welcome to Rapture and those starting areas, and it's
Kind of drags out.
things you don't want to do. Yeah, I mean, that's why if you watch, I might get to the point of watching my other GDQ runs at some point. But you either talk about something that's coming up, something you did previously, a fun fact. A lot of times what I do now is I just talk about what's happening in the story. That's just an easy thing to fall back on. It's a lot to talk about, especially for a BioShock game. You have the entire story that you've skipped over, so being able to sum it up in the 2 minutes that you have sitting there is a really easy way to just keep people invested because they want to know about the game. If they haven't seen it, or if they have seen it, you just remind them this is what this level is because it may look different than what you remember. Also, I guess I never asked for donations. I don't remember if that was really a thing, being like, this is a great time for donations. It might have been, and I might have just not wanted it to happen.
He made his body on the way out. Why not?
I don't remember.
Nice. Guy Thunder.
So if you use Incinerate when you're falling, and you go into this cutscene, when you load up Olympus Heights, which is the next area, you still hear the Incinerate sounds, which I don't understand, but...
to explain to my past self what happens is, all it is when you load back in, you hear the sound of basically pulling out Incinerate, so you hear that flame sound is all it is. If you have any if you have any plasma out, you'll hear the sound. It's nothing special.
Any second now. There we go. It's a weird little bug.
I think if I can put myself back 7 years ago, I think in my mind it was shooting the floor, the sound of the Incinerate on the floor was carried over into the next part. I think that was my thought process behind saying that. I'm not sure on that though.
So although the story kind of goes downhill from here, the speedrun actually has some pretty cool tricks. One of my favorites is in this area. There's actually a lot of areas, or a lot of props used in this area that are repeated in BioShock 2, like these fish table. You see these in the beginning of BioShock 2 as well.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, I think that's pretty standard for a lot of games to just kind of like reuse assets, but between BioShock 1 and 2, there's a lot of just duplicated assets that get carried over.
Will you be doing the little sister skip?
I will try.
Please, teddy bear, please.
So I'm just waiting for this little sister to actually run. Okay.
So the SimCity, yeah, exactly. It makes perfect sense to reuse the textures from one game to another, but
Jump on this little bear just right. You can actually jump on top of the little sister's head
hey,
and just kind of stand here for a bit.
no one in the audience clapped for that. Come on.
Two, which defies gravity. You can stand in this little girl. I don't know what that defies, but probably a few laws.
It's a good joke. I'm pretty proud of that. Same hat? No. I had this hat then, but it's not the same one. I might actually have that somewhere. But no.
So now we're just on a fetch quest. We have to go
Disappoint me? I know.
some items that we need.
I wanted the same hat too.
Open the door just enough to get underneath it with the crouch. Save a little bit of time. And I mentioned earlier about radio messages having a reverse effect on doors. And that's what I'm going to set up now. But first we're going to do a quick save. Because this can go terribly, terribly wrong if I don't pay attention.
This was a big trick when it was found. Like I remember exactly when it happened, but I know I was doing runs at the time. The guy I mentioned before, Exploding Cabbage, who found really all of the big skips in this run. We just found ways to improve them. When he just came in my chat one day, like I was like, "Hey, just do this thing in Olympus Heights and you'll warp." I was like, okay. Started doing it. It's like some bad shit, crazy stuff. I still think this is a crazy trick. Actually, like being able to warp in BioShock, like to abuse it this way. It's such a cool trick.
Square, which is the next area because I activated the door. But because there's a radio message playing, which is NPC dialogue, the game won't actually transition me quite yet. Just keep in the back of your minds that the game's trying to take me to the next area.
I think people give GDQ too much criticism for that. Like, I still don't hold back jokes like that when I go to do runs. Like, there's obviously a line you have to toe. If you go all out, you're gonna probably face the wrath, but you can still have fun with it. Like, I made the tongue-in-cheek joke about taking care of your pets when I did BioShock the last time. That was, you could argue, towing the line, but it's like, GDQ never said a single thing to me about that.
Hopefully.
Like, they're perfectly fine. I think people just see like one person get banned for saying something that's over the line a bit, or is halfway, and they just made a judgment call,
You have to be careful.
a knee-jerk reaction, and it's just like that doesn't apply to every situation they have. There's plenty of things that
Radio message is done playing. You have to really make
get
sure
left
the
in.
message starts playing.
I once stole a ghost and
That is the wrong food.
I'll probably do these. I'll spread them out of just reacting to my old GDQ runs. But I'm pretty sure when I did Wolfenstein: The New Order, or maybe it was The Old Blood, me and Bubbles just made a whole bunch of like Nazi puns, which is just like it's really weird to do that and say that now. But it's like, dude, we just threw those in here and there, and it's like they didn't care. They never said anything about it, and it's just. You have to be smart in how you approach it.
This is the point where I can kind of check my ammo for the next few areas.
If I just came out and said like some really obscure stuff and started going off about conspiracy theories and stuff, like they're probably gonna say something to me. But if I do a tongue-in-cheek joke and like make it not awful, they probably won't care. Yo, Christian, thanks for 10 months.
We're actually doing really well on ammo too, so should be good.
Also with the GDQ chat, I mean it's such a cesspool. I mean just Twitch chat in general is a cesspool when it's on that large of a scale. When you have 100,000 people watching in chat, even if you are there for good intentions and your memes and the things you post aren't hurtful or whatever, you're gonna have you're gonna have other people that are doing the same thing but with bad intentions, and it's hard to read text with context when you can't talk to the person. Like you might post a meme thinking it's all in good fun, and someone else might post that meme, the exact same thing, with intentions to be like toxic, and it's how it's perceived.
First thing I'm gonna do when I get up here is take out the security camera. Because if it catches you, you have to wait a minute. You can't
It's not an easy job to balance at that level. back to the run. Pepes are banned. Dude, Nazis use Pepe. You can't use Pepe because Nazis do.
Keep in the back of your minds. If not, this won't make any sense.
Don't you know? Nazis drink water, so you can't drink water. I'm sorry to tell you guys. Yeah, the claps. Woo, they're back,
Yeah, the
baby.
game was trying to take me to Apollo Square, but I just want to complete what I need to do before I let it do that. And that saves about a minute and a half of walking, so nothing exciting gets skipped this time.
Just complete silence. Just
Yeah, so at this point,
no commentary for like a solid 15 seconds there.
is that you never picked up. I never got Winter Blast 3, but it's part of the actual story, I guess. And luckily in the speedrun, you get a few that are actually pretty helpful. Winter Blast 3 isn't extremely helpful, but you can have some fun with it.
Yeah, I could go on a whole rant about the Pepe nonsense, but save that for after. Shit's so stupid. Yeah, I used Incinerate on the floor here too. I don't know why it took so long to figure out the fact that we could use that
That's a small little death warp you can do to get back outside.
in other places.
It doesn't say
Simpler times.
if your health is low enough, you might as well go for it. This alarm doesn't matter at all. I'd rather not set it off because this becomes a nuisance, but we're about to leave the area anyways. And this is one of the main reasons we run the game on easy, is for the next little skip coming up here.
So, back in the day of SDA, and like the beginning of speedrunning, speedruns were almost always done on the hardest difficulty. Like if you go and look at old school games, like the first couple Doom games, they're speedrun on Ultra Violence, the hardest difficulty. Nightmare, but that's a different story. But like every segmented run of PC shooters was done on the hardest difficulty because that was just the way people did it back then. But the thing with this, and I feel like BioShock really changed my mindset, and maybe when I started like pushing this in other categories and other games, that kind of just changed the mindset of being from playing on hardest essentially for the ego to playing on whatever was the fastest category, which turns out to be easy for this. But the main reason we started doing easy for BioShock is because this elevator drop only works on easy. On medium or hard, I'll probably say this here in a second in the video, but it just flat out kills you. You can't survive the drop unless you're on easy. And it's not a huge time save, but it's like 7 seconds. But that was enough to be like, all right, well, the fastest category is going to be easy because you can do that drop. And then that just kind of changed the whole mindset behind speedruns going forward. I mean, not for the community at large, but for me at least. And when I pushed for other games, like BioShock 2, when I went to that, I did it on easy. Because I was like, well, maybe there's other stuff we can survive. And I think there is. But then like Penumbra Overture was the same way, surviving the blast in the first area on easy, whereas other difficulties would kill you. And it's kind of a thing that happened over time.
So I'm going to jump in this elevator shaft and fall down.
That was kind of risky the way I did it.
Hard, you just die. There's no way around it. Mad Skip's taking the elevator down.
BioShock speedruns changed the world? Yeah, for sure. That's what it is.
Last chance, kids coming up. The worst skip of all. The
Yep.
most frustrating them.
So the second biggest skip in the game is coming up. We'll see how it goes.
Would you say this skip is more frustrating to deal with in Arcadia, or is Arcadia the worst?
This would probably be the worst.
Probably.
Arcadia is just finicky. This one you actually have to get really lucky with.
Yeah.
I think Fort Frolic is technically a bigger skip than this, but I don't know the timings. I feel like Fort Frolic's a bigger skip than this.
Sadly, it's always the cool areas that we skip in the game and not the boring ones.
Yeah.
It's true. Skip all the cool areas in BioShock. It's true. Big truths.
Normally what you're supposed to do is gather parts of a Big Daddy suit to make yourself into a Big Daddy, but yeah, we're gonna skip that.
Yeah, we're just gonna skip that. Completely missed.
So I'm gonna do a quick save because if I mess this up, there's no way of fixing it.
Yeah, that sensitivity's out of whack.
Pretty popular as a quote for this game. You can probably guess why. There we go. It's-
They're trying, not bad for that setup. That was winging it, seemed like. Did I try to explain it?
Difficult trick to explain because it doesn't really have a easy explanation. There's basically two triggers that you need to activate, and you activate them in the reverse order so that you actually skip one of them, allowing you to get to the door. I could go into more specifics, but
Okay, this could be world
I still don't know technically if that's the right explanation. But yeah, there's like a trigger that puts you in place and locks you there while the cutscene plays, and then there's the trigger that starts the cutscene itself. And normally you activate the one on the floor, you get put in place, lock there, and then that forces you to activate the one that starts the cutscene. And so just doing that jump, you start the cutscene before you land and get locked in place, so it just doesn't lock you in place and you can walk to the door, is essentially how it is.
record. If he gets a red
I
little
believe.
sister,
It's the way I've always believed it, and I'm pretty sure it's true.
first run at AGDQ. So I'm sorry to tell you. It's just a joke. In the world record video, he has a red-head little sister, and they give you 3 sets of colors of hair. Blonde is the worst, brunette is and red hair is world record face.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we didn't know how to make little sister run consistently.
You can run or walk right there, but if she ends up walking, you can just do that to get her over here. For the majority of the area,
This trick is hard to explain because it's not really an easy explanation, yeah.
it's actually a lot slower, but for this,
Look, this trick is too complicated to explain to you small brains, okay? Like, us galaxy brains over here can understand it, but just to, like, have to talk down to you, it's too much work.
stretch, it's pretty helpful. And if you still haven't figured out that telekinesis is extremely overpowered,
This section will tell you.
yep,
Fortunately, this is the worst section, but it's at the end of the game.
yeah, this is the infamous escort mission, and there's no way
No
of
beard.
speeding it up or skipping it.
No beard or no mustache.
People have tried. Blood has spent a lot of time trying to find a way to do it. There's a funny glitch where you can actually spawn a numerous amount of little sisters. Blood, if you want to go into detail about it, well, we got time.
Yeah, if
I've done this like once or twice ever since then. I didn't even realize it was done back in 2014. But yeah, there is a trick that you can like just have tons and tons of little sisters pop at the events. I don't remember how it's done. If I booted up the game, I wouldn't know. But it's a fun trick that doesn't save any time.
the little
How old was I here?
and you have to get a new one, you can actually spam 2 of the
I would have been 20.
and you'll get 2. So every time you kill off one, you can summon 2 more. So if you just have a lot of time, you can sit around and just summon a whole bunch like I did one night. I think I got up to 20 before I got bored of it.
It's a lot of little girls.
I think that's a lie. I don't think I ever did it more than like 5. I don't remember ever like doing that trick more than up to 5. Like the one time I ever did it.
Spline on either side. Typically they favor the right, but you always have to check the left just to be sure.
I think I'm a fat liar. Big fat liar.
Telekinesis is so strong. Now, in BioShock 2, they did nerf telekinesis, correct?
Yeah, in BioShock 2, unfortunately, they did nerf telekinesis. It doesn't do nearly as much damage, and it uses a ton more Eve. So it's pretty much not used at all in BioShock 2.
It's not used for combat in BioShock 2, which is still not really the case. It kind of is. Just used in a different way. Still very much used as a plasmid
The worst
in
part about this stage is that the little
BioShock
sister
2.
is constantly yelling at you to go faster.
She taunts you every time.
She will continuously tell you to hurry up or move faster or do something. Once again, they can spawn on the right or left side.
Blood.
Yep.
Do little sisters have a speed they can go at?
They can either walk or they can run. If you know what you're doing, they will always run, but if you mess up one little thing, they'll walk, which is really slow. She'll constantly do it.
I didn't remember Laz having this much commentary in this. Like I haven't watched this run since. I mean, I don't think I've ever actually watched it. But yeah, just shout out to Laz for helping out with commentary so much, because I probably wouldn't have had near as much commentary to talk about if he wasn't constantly chiming in with stuff. I didn't remember him like asking so many questions and like prompting me to say so much. Really took that for granted.
It's supposed to be mimicking the fact that you're a Big Daddy, and Big Daddies are very slow and cumbersome protectors. That's the whole reason why she's saying
Time for donations? Yeah, exactly.
because Big Daddies are very slow.
This is a part where we actually make her run. If you get out in front of her here, like that, she will now run for the rest of the mission, as long as you don't mess anything up.
Yeah, she'll run
I don't know.
for a while until you do something wrong again.
I'm bringing the gun turret with me because it's a very small object that will still do a one-shot kill, which is very, very important for this next little bit.
Sure. It's not really a small item, but of the bigger items, it's the easiest to throw around.
Splicers in the water, and if what you're throwing actually hits the water, it won't be a one-shot kill. If it hits Little Sister, it won't be that either. If I used a body for that, then it probably wouldn't be a one-shot kill. I could use a camera or a trash can or something, but gun turret is probably the best. Well,
We just use a grenade for all of those kills now. One grenade takes care of the 3 splashes in the water one shot. Really easy.
yeah, there's a splicer around here somewhere. And there's one over here on the floor.
That aim.
Unfortunately, with telekinesis, you can pick up random parts of the body that aren't actually the full corpse. So you can pick up mask, hooks, other little things that won't be a one-shot kill, like that. Picking up machine guns don't help.
Wow, that's a really bad fight. Got really unlucky with a lot of those props.
Hurry, Mr. B.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, just getting a faster kill in between
This next part
areas.
I like to refer to as the Kool-Aid Man fight, because
Kool-Aid time.
we'll see in just a moment.
Don't be a slowpoke, Mr. B.
I've always wanted to find a way to mod this game. No one's really found. I'm really surprised with how much people love this game, how much people play it, that it's never really been modded properly. Because I would love for the Big Daddies just to be modded into being the Kool-Aid Man. I think that'd be amazing. Like, I would run it just for this.
Anything.
That was a fast fight.
Oh yeah. Did I use the cat in this run?
We have a little little bit of spare time with this
I
one,
think so.
I'm gonna go get her a present. I typically don't do this, but I think she deserves it.
It's not even like getting the model, it's just finding a way to inject
Her very own pet cat.
code into the game.
It's very thoughtful of you.
Yep. Just gotta make sure she takes it with her.
What a nice guy.
She will like to leave it behind, but I can't have that.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know where it went. Oh, there it is. So if we hold it right here, she'll push it into the air vent.
Oh.
And now
Sort of.
Now it's surprising.
You never enjoy playing the game again? I mean, yeah. That's how I feel all the
we
time.
go to the final fight.
A true boss fight. And the best boss fight. Because
Pretty hard though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
time's gonna be
it's-
coming up pretty soon, so like another minute or so. I mean, this boss fight's gonna take me forever.
it's difficult. I mean, I don't think you're ready. No, this is no jokes. This is hard.
Yeah, no jokes. Yeah, it's lapel mic. It's you can see it right there. Right at the base of the neck. Which I've never been one that like speaks like I can project my voice very well. That's why like this works so well for me because it's right in my face and I have it set for my style of talking. But even like with a headset mic, I had a lot of problems. They tried so many different solutions for audio until whatever GDQ it was where I had Power Up Audio come in and actually do professional level audio for them and show them like, all right, you know, use these headsets that are good quality, have a mixer and all of this stuff. And then like ever since then, that's been their setup. Whether they've had Power Up Audio there for like SGDQs or, you know, they've done it themselves on AGDQs. But I don't think that was until it might have been 2017, but it could have been 2016. I want to say 2017 is when SGDQ 2017, and then every SGD, like 18, I think they missed 19 and were there. I don't know. It took them a while, but yeah. If I know BioShock 2 when I did that, they had like a really shitty Diva mic and stuff. Really bad audio for a lot of early GDQs. I never point this out anymore. Sometimes I do when I like do speedruns of it, just on occasion. But the first time you stab him, I'll go back a second. Just watch the needle. Like he's supposed to be moving around, and when you stab him subsequent times, it does move around with him. But because he doesn't actually move his body, the needle just like tears through his skin. I love looking at it every time. Just whoop.
Gotta hurt.
You stab it in and you just yank it around. See, he's supposed to move like this so it like sticks in one spot.
The explosives that he places on the ground.
He's
Well,
placing,
essentially before he does anything.
yeah, he's placing proximity mines, and when Fontaine jumps from his chair, he lands on the proximity mine. He says about 97% of his health. Blood will
And time.
I don't think I think this was at the point where they didn't even like tell you what time you got until you either like asked for it or you went and looked. Like they didn't have a clock set up anywhere. They still don't have that. But like I don't think I knew what the time for this was until like days later, or maybe when I got home. Like I just didn't know. I was like, it was a run. I did a run. I don't know what time it was, but I hope it was good.
It's not a bad run.
Also, well underestimate, I might add.
World record, I believe, is by BloodThunder, about 54 minutes and 10 seconds, correct? Yep.
I mean, 3 minutes off my record then, which was a terrible time in retrospect, but I mean 3 minutes off my best with loads, pretty crazy.
And
For as I've now told the story of being awake for like absolutely too long and going through all the stress of getting there and traveling on my own for the first time and all that shit. Like the 3 minutes off, like it's pretty respectable, I think.
and with loads or loading.
Little BT,
Without loads,
it's me.
220.
Okay.
Oh, I knew the without loads 5220. Oh shit. There we go. I was wondering about that earlier. All muscle memory.
And
Nope.
this game is close to the point of being completely optimized. So I'm not sure
That's a good joke.
the new strat at Medical Pavilion or before it, if how much that would save.
It's very close to being perfectly optimized.
Nah, here you go.
It's good. It's a good
So
joke.
happy.
Heartwarming ending.
No, JB's not. I don't know when JB started going to GDQs, but on couch, this is Laser Long, Decided Sloth, an old Dishonored runner. I don't know who this is in the orange. I'm zero clue. And then I don't know the people in the back too well. I think this is Fino, the Zelda runner. I believe that's him, but not 100% sure. And I don't know who else is in the background there.
Just to discuss
My record now is like 37 something, maybe, in game time. Oh, and then they just, what? Oh, I think there's a crash here or something. Wasn't there a crash in this? Yeah, that's what happened. What happened with this? So it wasn't the game PC that crashed. It was, I guess, whatever they were using to stream. Which I guess recording was fine. It's, just, you know. So that, like, I think when that happened, if I remember correctly, I was like sitting there just like, all right, this is over. We're just going to let this play out and then I'll be done. And there's like, hey, we had a crash, you know, stop. And I was like, well, it's the cutscene at the end of the thing. What do you want me to do? This goes on for a bit. It's like, well, it was a donation incentive for the proper ending, and the stream crashed during the cutscene of the ending people bid for. So it's like, well, the only way to show that again is to beat the boss again. This is just my look of like, are you fucking kidding me? I just want some sleep.
Okay.
Not knowing anything that's going on, I'm just like, what is happening right now? Just the absolute look of just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to be here anymore.
Nothing at all.
Blood got world record. Everyone missed it. It wasn't recorded.
It was insane. It's a one-in-a-lifetime thing. Couldn't you run the credits?
We just tasked it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. TaskBot will be back here in a few moments.
Run it back. Yeah, I don't know who this is. I honestly can't remember. I think it was just someone like at the event. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill on couch. I'm away. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I don't care.
Speaking, do you want to mention after the credits real quick, Exploding Cabbage and all that?
No, exploding cabbage
Probably
thing.
should.
Probably should. How long do I sit here? Okay, it's not. I mean, so I think that was them telling me go ahead. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah, I mean, still just look at my face. I'm just like, why am I doing this again? Yo, Dime, thanks for 31 months, man. It's my fucking face. It's priceless. It's not often I get a look at my own face of just pure disgust. I'm just like, oh. Yeah, just no commentary. I'm just like, I'm just gonna run through this as fast as I can. Just get it done with. Another round of clapping. Yeah, woo! The claps. Thought you had I dreamed up.
Reminder,
I had tattooed inside your head.
run. So just keep that in mind.
Well, they are safe.
Why am I so disgusted? Because at this point, I'd probably been up close to 40 hours, if not more than that. Having traveled for 18 of those on a bus, first time traveling by myself, so like super stressed out, being in front of people for like the first time, like doing a live performance sort of thing, going through all the stress of just getting the game set up and running on stuff. Yeah. Because my flight got canceled, and this was like super early on, and I just really wanted to get there. Being my first event, I was like, this is something that I've never done. It's like, I want to go and be with all these speedrunning people. So instead of waiting for more delays on my flight because a super big snowstorm was coming in and everything was getting delayed, I was like, you know, those flights are going to have me get there like Wednesday. And this run was like on Monday morning or something. Maybe it was like Tuesday morning. I was just like, I'm just going to hop on a Greyhound bus and just take it up there. And it was 18 hours later, I arrived, 18 hours by bus to get to DC. But that was downtown DC, which this was in Herndon, Virginia, which is outside of DC. So then I had to jump in a cab for about an hour, which is like super expensive. 2 cabs actually, because the first cab took me to the wrong hotel. And I was like, this isn't the place. So he pulled over, he was driving back to, I don't remember, the station. The Greyhound station, Central Station, whatever it's called. And he spots like another cab and he like flags him down, rolls down the window, and he's like talking to him and he's like, yeah, just go over to that cab. So I had to like grab my backpack because I didn't take any luggage. It was just like everything I had in a backpack, all my clothes, my USB drive and everything. And it's like, all right, I'm just going to hop out in the middle of the street, transfer taxis, and then go off. And yeah, it was awful. First time really traveling, and first time traveling by myself as well. So it's like after being 18 hours on a bus plus the time I was awake trying to get on a flight, to then have to deal with taking a taxi for the first time and all that. I was just like, and then another like 8 hours before this run, and then at the very end when it's like, all right, you're done, you can go to sleep, you can get some rest now. They're like, you have to do it again. You have to go through this part again. It's like I don't want to do this. I love doing the run. I love being there, but in that moment, I was just like, all I want is sleep, and you're telling me I have to now push that off more and more. It's just, I just no. Fly back home, yeah. Actually, I think I had trouble flying back home as well because I didn't take the first flight. I still had it booked, but because I took the Greyhound up there, they're like, well, you didn't check into your first flight. You didn't take that. So we like canceled your return flight because we thought you just didn't take it. And then when I showed up, I was like, yeah, I still need that return flight home. And then luckily the lady there just like worked it out. But yeah, all flights from that point on, I've thought about driving, but I just don't trust my car to go like that far and back. Nor do I really want to drive for like 10 hours to get somewhere. I'll just fuck it. Yeah, anytime I meet someone that's like going to a GDQ for the first time or something, they're like, yeah, I'm just going to hop on a bus. Or they're like, when I'm there, it's like, yeah, I was on a bus for like 12 hours. Like, I've been there. Don't do that again.
They offered you this city.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me that time. So you had the wrong day for the first flight there and got a different one.
And what did you do?
Yeah, the QuakeCon stuff was really professional.
The good ending
What I've come to expect of you.
has to be happy.
You saved them. You gave them the one thing that was stolen from them.
Yeah.
A chance. A chance to learn,
So beautiful. Yo, Verdant, thanks for 10 months.
to find love, to live. And in the end, what was your reward?
What's going on with this red box they got going on up here?
I think I know.
Fix your shit, GDQ. Fix it.
A family.
So I just want to give a quick shout out to Exploding Cabbage, who's the man who found practically all the glitches in this game, or I guess we were calling it Easter eggs instead. But he really helped. And shoutouts to Cortez, who's actually doing a segmented run of this game currently, and that should be on SDA sometime soon. Whenever
SDA, baby.
You want to see?
I don't know if that run ever. Cortez did a run a long time ago. I mean, obviously now, but like before this, he had done a segmented run, and he was working on another one with all the new strats, but I don't think he ever actually finished it. I think once that kind of came in and started doing everything single segment, like RTA stuff, like it just kind of, that project got dropped. And, you know, no one. I honestly thought about doing a segmented run of this game for a long time, and I tried. Like I got halfway through Welcome to Rapture, like with this really crazy trick that really wasn't a trick, and then I just had no desire to actually finish it.
See this game done really well. Be sure to check that out. Yeah.
Can we get a quick round of applause for those guys? They really deserve it.
Like nobody wants to clap. There's like, yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I think this might, maybe I'm wrong. I thought maybe this was Shadow Draft. For those that know him, I know he went to early GDQs. I don't know if that's him. It's kind of hard to tell, but it might be. I don't know. Look at that nice desktop, so beautiful. But is there anything after this? Let me take off the mic. Drop that shit. Nope. Okay. I was trying to see if I could see the badge on this guy, but I think he just. Oh god, the audio. I think I still have that shirt up in my closet somewhere. I'll have to look for it. Honestly, I don't know what that says on the back. I think it's someone's name. Somebody wanted their name on the back of the shirt, so I just put it at like the very bottom. Let's see if we can see it. I mean, I honestly could pull it out and look at it, but I was curious. I think I still have this jacket. Oh yeah, LaFoque. Old Amnesia Runner, wanted his name on the back, so it's just, it's right there. I can't believe a custom shirt let me put something that low. It's crazy. Like nowadays, it's like the upper square of the back, and that's it. Is that on them? Exactly. Yeah, it's my run at AGDQ 2014. I'll probably spread these out because there's only like 16 or 18 of these, and I've already done the more recent ones like a couple days after. So there's really no point to do them again. They're still fresh, but my other ones like the Quantum Conundrum from AGDQ 2014, BioShock 2, Broforce when I did that, the Wolfensteins, those earlier ones, I might throw these more in there. 'Cause it's a fun thing to go back and look. I'm really pleased with this. I've always dreaded watching this again. I mean, one, just to look at my shaven face. I hate that. But I thought my commentary was going to be way, way worse. I've also, for a long time, I've always hated the sound of my own voice. I think, you know, that's a very common thing for people to do. But I've kind of grown to just be more accepting of it. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't notice, mainly because I was tired. Maybe it's more in Quantum Conundrum where the nervousness will rise through. Maybe the other events. But yeah, for a first one, I'm pretty pleased. Honestly, looking back at 7 years ago, essentially, like in a month it'll be 7 years. So really, really pleased with that. Voice is nice, yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to sound better, but you know, born with the voice I got.